So, if you're a fan of Eric Clapton, you might like this guitar. Doing well as always. So, this is probably as close as I will get to playing Eric Clapton's Blackie Strat. So, this amazing, wonderful playing, wonderful sounding guitar was made by Eternal Guitars, Mr. Dave Walsh at Eternal Guitars, and he's made a beautiful tribute replica to Eric Clapton's famous Blackie Strat. And I've been playing, I've got an Eternal Strat. It's become my main Strat, which I've just realised isn't here at the moment. It's in the house. But that's become my main guitar for nearly a year. Got it last March. But we're here to chat about this wonderful instrument. So let me just do a little backstory on Clapton's Blackie Strat, and then we'll get to this here. And this is just going from my own memory and things I've read about over the years. Eric Clapton was probably my first kind of guitar hero, so I've certainly read and been into a lot of stuff he's done, and particularly the guitar this has replicated. So if my memory serves me right, Clapton got the pieces because Blackie is basically a parts caster. I forget the exact years, but it's like a 56 neck, I think, and body is 50 something, and electronics we'll get to in a bit. But he was in Nashville in 1970, and if you've seen the footage of Derek and the Dominoes playing on the Johnny Cash show, it was around that time he went into Showbud on the Nashville Strip. Which I believe is now Robert's Western, where like the Don Kelly band plays, or used to play, but J.D. Simo was in the band, and Daniel Donato, Brett Mason, all these guys. I think. Please let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong. But he bought a load of Strats, as I think he said himself, you know, he bought a load of them for a song, which is an old British slang saying for like cheap. Because Strats weren't particularly in favour at the time, certainly the old ones, the 50s one. And he gave one to Steve Winwood, one to Pete Townsend, one to George Harrison, and he said kept 3 himself. But I think he took the ones he wanted to George Gruen's guitar shop, and the technicians kind of put it all together there, and Blackie was made. Now, I've got an old album cover, an old like greatest hits, and it's I'll try and find it. It's at my dad's house, I think, but I'll try and find a caption of it. But it must have been early on, because I think he first used it in 1973 at the Rainbow gig, what Pete Townsend put on for him. And you can see there that the pickup covers were kind of yellowed. And in this album cover, the pickup covers are really yellowed, and then the volume and tone controls are yellowed, and the top bit I remember is quite black. This is going by memory here. So at some point after kind of 73, it must be between 73 and 74, because that's when he kind of came back in 74, and the scratch plate and the pickup covers have been changed, and it was pretty much how it is today if you went to Guitar Center in Hollywood and you would see it, which I've done, which was really cool. So the pickups, I've always thought that they're like 70s pickups. I may be completely wrong, but something's going on there. They've definitely been changed again, and the covers have been changed and whatnot. But you know, Blackie became his famous guitar through kind of 74 to I guess 85. I think a Live Aid was one of the last concerts I think he did with it. Let's just do some sounds. So I'm going for a Cornford MK50 at the moment. I may change, but the neck pickup, the middle pickup, the bridge pickup, now the neck and middle, and the middle and bridge. Now, I've had this guitar about a week now, and I really, really love the middle pickup. It's a really lovely sound, and playing this and getting used to it, I get why he used this guitar for so long, because Eric in the 70s was really influenced by the country blues, you know, and the singer-songwriters. He got into obviously the band and was hanging out in the late 60s before that with, you know, Joni Mitchell and Crosby, Stills and Nash and all those guys and the band, and he got into the Big Pink album, and then of course J.J. Cale he was really influenced by, and then as the 70s went on he got quite influenced by Mark Knopfler, and so playing this I'm like, this is like a Telecaster. Obviously of course it's blocked off, but just the actual sound of it. I mean, if I put the bridge pickup on, it's got that cool telly spank. It's not like any of my other Stratocasters I personally have, you know. And I was like, this is why he had it for so, because he was into that thing. And then of course he got a signature Strat, and then he got influenced by, you know, 80s guitar, really, if you think about it, as the kind of, you know, mid 80s went on. He got a Soldano, which I think was influenced from Mark Knopfler. And then obviously had the gold lace sensor pickups then and all that kind of stuff. But that 70s period when he's doing, you know, that's just probably British, yeah. Whatever. But when he was into all that kind of stuff, it makes sense for this. But at the same time, it can still get saucy. just wonderful. It's really, really nice. Right, so let me tell you about the specs as well on this glorious instrument by Eternal Guitars. So what we've got here, we've got a 2-piece alder body, and the neck is a 1-piece maple neck, and it's a very soft V-shape neck as well. I'm not usually a massive fan of V-shaped necks, but I'm quite, this isn't bothering me at all. Yeah, it's fitting nicely, and if you've ever played like one of Eric's Martin guitars, I think that Martin influenced the Strat, or the Strat influenced, I forget which is which. He likes V-necks, isn't he? But no, it's very nice. So that's the neck. Oh, and of course it's a 7.25 radius, like you would expect. And the frets, if I remember rightly, are 6130, I believe, fret size. So all you aficionados of the electric guitar will know what that is. I would say medium frets. And of course it's all finished in nitrocellulose in a, as you can see, a very aged black body, which is looking amazing. And we've got a 1-ply aged white pickguard with matching aged pickup covers and the knobs. The bridge is an aged Goto vintage bridge with steel block and bent steel saddles. And then we've got Goto split post vintage tuners as well. And the pickups, of course, are Eternal pickups, and these are the timeless Blackjack single coil pickup set. And the pots are 250k. I'll put a link to the Eternal website. You can check it out, all the specs and whatnot there, which I've just kind of said. But the most important thing, you know, I mean, cosmetically and visually, he has nailed it, from the cigarette burns to all, you know, I've looked at this guitar so much. And all these little dings which you see on the guitar, on Blackie, on all the pictures. And I'm sure Eric would have filled in bits and bobs with probably felt tip pen or marker pen or something to cover it up. I mean, this is just nuts. No, it's great. I hope Dave doesn't mind me saying it. There's one bit, because I saw the Blackie Strat last year, and I was showing some pictures to Dave, and on the Blackie Strat there's a little bit more wear in this neck pocket bit, and I showed Dave that. He goes, oh, so I expect if by the time this get back to Dave, he's already sharpened up some tools and will be taking care of the little neck pocket there. And I noticed as well, I don't think I've ever played a Strat with a 1-ply, you know, like a thin scratch plate, and you can really see it's thin. So when you see those old 50s Strats and the guards all cracked and whatnot, it makes perfect sense. They are so thin. It's literally just a thin bit of plastic, you know. But that's what, you know, it's a 50s body. That's what on the original it would have been. So I've got a little bit of gain going on now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap amps. I'm going to go back to my Hampstead amp, which is a bit more of a cleaner amp, and we'll get some sounds with that. But I'm using no pedals on purpose, apart from at the beginning when I put a bit of a Leslie type sound on that guitar solo. But yeah, I'm just going guitar into amp because that's what a good guitar sound should be, really, especially for this kind of Clapton sound. But I will say before I change, this is a wonderful guitar if you're an Eric Clapton fan or not. You know, it's 10 out of 10. Right, so back with the kind of Hampstead cleaner sound now. So neck pickup, neck and middle, middle pickup, middle and bridge, and bridge pickup. So you can really hear now this kind of, there's a bit of a cleaner sound. It's just, oh, it's wonderful. So I hope you've been enjoying the sounds from this incredible instrument, and some of the close-up shots hopefully I've got of the guitar as well. Again, you know, I'm loving the neck. It's not fat, it's not skinny, it's a nice in between, and of course there's no finish. The finish has been lovely smoothed down, and it's just a joy to play. Like I say, even though it's a replica of Blackie, it's a lovely guitar, you know, regardless. You know, this shouldn't be put up on a wall or left in a case or something like that. This should be played and gigged with, really. Because this is lovely, and I think if I had the spare Wonga, I'd probably get it myself. Because it's really nice. It's again, it's just a completely different Strat that certainly I've got in my collection or anything. You know, it's got that telly twang to it, you know, and as I was saying, it just makes sense why Clapton stuck with that guitar, why he was in that style all through the 70s. And then as the 80s went on, he got more into the rock and roll of the 80s and was influenced by Steve Lukather, and I imagine Dan Huff later on, and a little bit of Eddie Van Halen probably. You know what I mean? Like those harder rock sounds which he got in the 80s, you know, and the chorus pedal he started using a lot more. And, you know, if you listen to the Journeyman album, you can kind of hear that, you know. So, and that's when he wanted more of a beefier Strat sound. But in the 70s, in that singer-songwriter, Americana influenced era, a guitar like this was perfect for him, you know. So yeah, like I said, I'll put all the links below, and check out Eternal Guitar's website, and it's a cracking guitar. It really, really is. So whoever does get it, congratulations, you got a beautiful, beautiful instrument. So anyway, I've been Mike Brady, you've been new. I'll see you next one. Mike Brady signing out. Bye!